Hey guys, my name is Ray, and today's the day that we're going to be talking about one of my favorite characters, Jon Snow, and why I'm pissed that he knows nothing still to this day, because it's crazy and astonishing that he still knows nothing. Let's go. Now, one of the more popular points in the Game of Thrones is basically that Jon Snow knows nothing. And it is legit. Jon Snow knows nothing about himself. He knows nothing about what he's doing. And he is kind of a weirdo. I don't know. I really like the character Jon Snow. He's one of my favorite characters if you watch this channel a lot. And I have a lot of thoughts on him as a character because he's so different compared to other characters in the story. But the crazy thing is that with a character like Jon Snow, all the freaking signs are there. And it's, to me, crazy that he doesn't pick up on these signs as the story goes on, that he is in a bigger position than where he started. Because Jon Snow, even though now he's king in the north, still acts like he's the bastard at Winterfell. And I don't know that for a fact because we haven't seen after he was anointed. But we did see that he is still very easy to defer, let's say, for example, to a Sansa, and that he doesn't, like, go after that leadership role. He's always thrusted into it. But like I said, all the signs are there. And I just wanted to touch on some of them, and I wanted to go over it with you guys and ask you guys, why doesn't Jon Snow know anything? But let's start. First off, I wanted to start off with Ghost. Ghost is such a big deal in the north. Like, Ghost is the north. It's like it's a sigil of the north, not just House Stark, of the north. It's like a northern animal, and just the color of it, it's like snow, and then he has those red eyes, those red bloodshot eyes, and he's just a beautiful beast. But then when you look at him compared to like a Cersei and a Dany, which are both queens, you know, Daenerys has her dragons, and that's her very big, powerful, you know, tool, I guess you could say. It gives her a lot of power and a lot of, like, backing from people. When people see those dragons, they're like, whoa. The same goes for Jon Snow. He has his direwolf, and it's the sigil of, basically, House Stark, but he has, like, that living sigil next to him. It's like, he is the North. He is Stark. And even though we know that he is half Targaryen and half Stark, it's still something very representative of him and where he comes from. And like I said, Cersei has Frankenmountain, if you want to call him like a dog or a dragon or whatever, or a pet. I mean, you basically, I'm pretty sure, have to clean his shit. Like, you have to clean after him. I don't think he cleans after himself. Then on top of that, you look into what his sword is. You look at Jon Snow. Jon Snow has Longclaw, which basically is the Valyrian steel sword that once pertained to House Mormont. And it has his white wolf on the pommel, which is crazy. It's like all the makings of a freaking hero in this world, right? You look at other people who had like crazy swords. We see that Aegon the Conqueror had Blackfire, which basically was his Valyrian steel sword he used to conquer the Seven Kingdoms. His sister Visenya had Dark Sister. We see that the Tardis have Heartsbane, and there's very few pieces of Valyrian steel in the Seven Kingdoms. And we saw that House Stark's sword, Ice, was melted down into two. But that's a whole different video, a whole different other thing. But back to Jon Snow. We see that Jon Snow has a very historic artifact as his weapon. And not only that, he knows how to use the bitch. Like, we see that Ramsay Bolton, right before the Battle of the Bastards, basically told Jon Snow that the way that people talk about Jon Snow, he's probably the greatest swordsman who'd ever lived.
The way people in the north talk about you, you're the greatest swordsman who ever walked. Maybe you are that good. Maybe not. I don't know if I'd beat you, but I know that my army will beat yours.
Now, when you hear that, and it comes from your enemy, and he's telling you that, that's like undeniable truth. That's not even him exaggerating. Like, if I don't like somebody, I'm not gonna hype them up. And Ramsay has said that people talk about Jon Snow in such a manner, basically, that Jon Snow is maybe the best swordsman who ever lived. Like, that is huge. But yet Jon Snow doesn't pick up on what other people think about. We've seen this, because if he would have picked up on things like this, he wouldn't have gotten killed and stabbed or had the mutiny at the Night's Watch. He's very bad when it comes to picking up these type of things and details from others. But people see him in high regard. He comes from a great house of Westeros. He has his direwolf. We saw all the hype behind again with the direwolf. Robb, when Robb would go into battle with Grey Wind.
You're Robb Stark's wife.
Hold still.
Is it true what they say about him?
I don't know. What do they say about him?
That he can turn into a wolf at night.
True.
And he eats the flesh of his enemies.
True.
The same goes with Jon. That same hype that they thought about Robb is the same for Jon Snow. I mean, for God's sakes, he came back from the dead. I mean, you don't need any more proof than that, right? We see that basically Stannis was just told by Melisandre, oh, you're special, or you're Azor Ahai. You're the one that has to save everyone. And Stannis was drinking the Kool-Aid, and Stannis believed it. And I don't want people to think that I've been bashing on Stannis recently a lot. It's just that him and Jon Snow are very paralleled when it comes to their stories, because the TV show has kind of fused their stories in a way, and that's why they kind of seem like they're in the same trajectory at the current moment in the story from the books and the TV show. But Stannis was believing it. We see that, Davos all the time was like, yo, don't believe the hype. Man, believe the hype. We see that Melisandre, for example, kept on and pretty much didn't stop telling, Stannis, yo, look, you're that dude, you're that guy. And he believed it. We saw that Dany believed that she was going to be the mother of the stallion that mounts the world. Basically, that Dothraki prophecy that basically her son was going to conquer the world and, basically mount the world. So we see a lot of this in the story. And it's interesting that these other characters are just told these things and they just believe in it. They buy into it. They believe right away that, they are destined for bigger things. And Jon Snow is freaking revived from the dead. And he's like, nope, I'm not a god. I'm not a god. And I'm not saying he is a god. But, he's like, no, I'm not, what, calm down a bit. And not only that, he came back from the dead. And as soon as he got back up, what did he do? Went to Winterfell and started the Battle of the Bastards, and basically he was the winning commander in the Battle of the Bastards and the Battle for Winterfell, which just adds more to his lore and his back sheet. He fought the Night's King and the White Walkers. He killed the freaking White Walker. Don't tell me this doesn't hype you up. And that's the thing that is kind of frustrating with the character of Jon Snow, is that he's done so many things already. And he brought the wildlings back from beyond the wall to, south of the wall. He was basically killed and revived. Valyrian steel sword, direwolf. Now he beat the traitorous Boltons and their subjects. Basically took back Winterfell that had never fallen before that. And now he is the newly anointed king in the north. I mean, I truly don't know what people want. I don't know how Jon Snow knows nothing. And to me, I'm telling you, but that kind of brings you into question. Does he want to believe? Does he want to believe the hype behind him? Does he want to believe that he is meant for something bigger? Or is this specifically done this way so that he registers it kind of all at once, and then he's like, he knows what he has to do to end the story? I personally am very curious as to seeing where Jon Snow goes as a character, right? Because Jon Snow, we saw at the end of season 6, we found out his parentage, and basically after we found out his parentage, he was anointed king in the north, and it's going to be interesting. It's an interesting dynamic to see if he still defers to Sansa, or he leads the north up against the White Walkers and he finds an alliance between Cersei and Dany and everyone. Because at first we all thought that it would be very possible that maybe him and, let's say for example, Daenerys would have to have an alliance and then defeat Cersei, but it doesn't seem that that's the way that they might be going for season 7. I'm very curious, guys, into seeing what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section. I'm very curious with this topic because it's something that is crazy to me, and like I said, it's something that it's like inevitable. I would have believed the hype. If I were doing all the shit Jon Snow did in the story, I would have had a big ass ego. But then again, I haven't done half the shit he's done, and I don't have a direwolf. So I'm curious to know what you guys think. If you guys haven't, remember to check out my live stream. This is the thumbnail right here. I'll put the card up here if you guys want to check that out. It was fun to make, I'm going to have another live stream, and that one is fun. I have a fun topic. It's going to be basically about possible theories still in season 7 of Game of Thrones and season 8 that still could technically happen, and not just theories, things that are in the books that still could pop up in the upcoming seasons. And it's just fun, man. I have it like all planned out. It's gonna be a fun live stream. Hope you guys could join me on Saturday at 9 o'clock. And like I said, check out my live stream from yesterday, and I have some awesome other videos. Remember to drop a like and subscribe. As always, guys, it's a true pleasure. My name is Ray, and peace. And on this video, the comment from my previous video goes to Fame Arcade, and he basically says, imagine if Sweet Robin were to die and Arya were to put on his face and lead the army of the Vale. Now that is freaking awesome. Head blown. I would love to see that. I'm not gonna lie, that would be dope as fuck. I doubt it'll happen, but I would love to see that happen. If you guys want, leave your comments down below again, and I'll choose possibly you for next week. As always, guys, peace.